Good evening and welcome to Greenslate I Incorporated. I'm Jan Kowalski McDonald and I'm here for Greenslate I. And tonight we're going to be talking about Aretha Franklin and her legacy, and more specifically it's a special tribute to the Wall of Respect. And of course, I'm Jan Kowalski McDonald, and I'm here on behalf of Greenslate I Incorporated. We're of course, on KNTV Channel 21. We're also streaming online at knTV.org/hotline. And for the next 25 minutes, we're going to be finding out about the Wall of Respect that existed in Chicago in 1967 to 1971. And you're more than welcome to join the discussion by calling in at the number appearing at the bottom of your screen. That number should be 312-738-1060. And of course, I'm Jan Kowalski McDonald, and I'm sponsored by Greenslate I Incorporated. Caller, do you have a comment or question?
Hi, Jan.
Hi, Ziff. How are you?
I'm very sorry for interrupting your introduction.
Well, I'm glad you called, Ziff. Can you tell our audience a little bit about Greenslate? Ziff?
Yes, I can. Greenslate originally was named the Kirby Puckett Boys Club for Kirby Puckett. Mm-hmm. But when we met with Kirby Puckett's wife, she told us that I should have gone through the estate to get permission to say Kirby Puckett Boys Club.
All right, so that's how we got Greenslate?
Yes, so she made me change the name.
Okay. And what does Greenslate do, Mr. Sistrunk?
We do three things. We do how government works. As an example, when you ran for office, we helped you secure 20,000 signatures.
Oh, I believe it was 22,000 signatures, sir, but thank you.
22,000 signatures. And we were inspiration. That's one of the things we do is how government works. The second thing we do, we run a sports league in Washington Park and Jackson Park, and Billy Beam have a league in which he's working with out in Tinley Park. So we're in three different areas with sports, recreation, and fitness. Mm-hmm. Then the third thing we do is documentary media production. For an example, the young man that is working your switchboard.
Yes, Pookie. Thank you, Pookie.
Is James Johnson. Is his real name. Uh-huh. Pookie is his nickname, and I call him Pookie Wookie. Because he is one of the great...
Be nice, for my technical producer here is going to be putting through crank calls.
For those of you who have never really saw the Negro Leagues in the 30s, 40s, and 50s and 60s, if you came out to Jackson Park this Sunday, you'll see a reincarnation of a real Negro League baseball player in the person of James Pookie Wookie Johnson. So then that's the three things we do: how government works, sports, recreation, and fitness. And the third thing is media and outreach in the communities. Program we're working on right now is Stop the Shots. With all of the killing, we're getting ready to go into schools and talk to young people about some of the fears. A lot of this comes from fear, and we want to talk with young people about just the fear of what might or what may not happen. And of course, I'll be going to Detroit tomorrow. Got my Detroit hat, going there to pay tribute to Aretha Franklin, who came out of Chicago, who had so much roots here in Chicago with Herbie Spann, the blues man, and of course Jesse Louis Jackson. He's probably speaking as we talk. Jennifer Hudson, she's there. Stevie Wonder's there. They're having a concert right now as we speak. And then they had the Land and State Monday and Tuesday. Then to the Worldly Memorial is today with the singing, and then tomorrow we'll commensurate with the Queen of Soul. Will commence her body to go to Christ, and he gave us a wonderful person in Aretha Franklin, who I just learned was from Memphis.
Well, yes, as if she was born in Memphis. I think I showed, let me show it again. I showed it on my last show, and I just love this picture. Hang on, give me just 1 second. I got to find it here.
Well, she was, while you're finding that, she was born in Memphis, but everybody thought she was from Detroit.
No, she is from Detroit. They moved to Detroit, I believe, when she was 8. Oh, here it is, though. Now, let me put this on the overhead. I just love this picture.
Okay.
Can you see the house? This is the house she was born and grew up in Memphis, Zeph.
Jan, I know you got a lot of people calling. My boss is calling me. I love you, Pookie.
But wait, Zeph, before I let you go, I was hoping you could tell our viewers about your connection with the Wall of Respect.
I will make Bob wait for me in a few minutes, and I'll tell you that. And I think I got a couple of pictures that you can show people at home.
Yes, I do, Zeph.
Well, what's interesting about those pictures that you're showing people now as they look?
Well, here, let me just show you a picture. How about that? All right, Zeph.
Okay, now,
can you tell people, our viewers, what this is?
Yeah, as we pay tribute to Aretha Franklin, in 1967, I was a little boy at 11 years old, and these people came to my neighborhood on 43rd Street, and they started painting all of these pictures, and I was 11 years old and all of my little friends. So we used to come around every day and help the painters and the artists, Dr. Margaret Barrows, Bill Walker, and everybody. So it became a historic art piece, and the name of it was the Wall of Respect. And the name came from...
Now, Ziph, maybe you can tell us, who are some of these portraits that appear on this wall?
Well, two things about it. The name came from Aretha Franklin's song.
I believe she's over here, and I'm sorry, maybe, I don't know if I can zoom it any good for you.
Okay.
No, I don't think I can zoom it very well. But Aretha is supposed to be over here.
Aretha is on the wall. I know. I was the first tour guide here in the United States in Chicago. I was 11 years old, and the wall was the first outdoor mural in Chicago. And in 1967, if you would have went up on the wall and painted some pictures, Mayor Daley probably would have beat the hell out of you.
Well, let me show you.
First outdoor mural.
Do you recognize this young man? Oh, sorry, I think I zoomed too much here. There you go. Do you recognize that young man?
Yes, that young man is named Ziph Sistrunk. He was 11 years old. He had just moved from 31st in Indiana after the big snow. And we moved to 43rd in Langley. And these people came in my neighborhood doing this artwork.
Yeah, that's funny. It looks like there's scaffolding in the back of your picture here. Is that because they're working on the wall?
They're working on the wall, and those three little boys you see there, Paul,
well,
Ziph,
let me show our viewers. Let me see. Can we see this? Ziph, what is this in this picture?
You'll see Paul, me, and Salas. Those three boys.
Wait. Who is this one?
Paul.
It's your brother
Ziph,
Paul. This is your bum, right? On top of the car.
That's me there.
And then who's this?
That's me on the left. Paul is in the middle, and Salas is on the right side.
And I love this. You can tell that the man over here is definitely from the 1967. I just love the floppy hat there. That was groovy back then, wasn't it?
And believe it or not, a lot of those people is in that picture is still living, and some of them are still on 43rd.
Well, let me show the next one. Now, who are all these people?
Well, those are some of the people that used to come around the wall in 1967, and we would have this car what was across the street was a Thunderbird. And we would sit on this Thunderbird and talk about what we were seeing that was evolving right in our face with these pictures of the Wall of Respect, which came from the song for Aretha Franklin.
Let me show you the next one here. And here looks like you're also on the scaffolding there, just clowning around.
We were little kids at 11 years old. We had so much fun working on the wall and listening to the wall and meeting people. And here's something ironic about the wall that a lot of people don't know. I don't know if you can show that picture where the policeman is down there arresting
we were getting to that one here. If you want me to jump ahead, I'm going to jump right ahead here.
Okay.
Here we go.
On Friday nights at the Wall of Respect, we used to have musicals in 1967. And the Blackstone Rangers and the Disciples would meet at 43rd Street. They would meet at 43rd Street and had this big meeting. And
let me show you this one. It's a little blurry, but mind you, it's black and white photograph, and this is from 1967. And in the background, here we have the mural, right?
You have the Wall of Respect
and in the foreground, we have a group of people.
Every Friday on 43rd and Langley, thousands of people would come about 6 o'clock to hear African music. And then two guys, Jeff Ford and David Boxdale would go in this little room by Johnny Ray's television place, repair shop, and they would meet, and in the back we would have a lot of meetings and music. So what we're interested in doing with the wall is getting the FBI tapes, because we know COINTEL in those days and the FBI was spying on people.
Well, yeah, that goes to the next photograph. Is this is part of the civil rights movement in the late 60s? Is this part of the riots and from the 68 convention, or what's this from, Ziff?
In 1967, Dr. King had just relocated here to the city of Chicago. Remember that? Mm-hmm. King didn't get killed until 68. The wall started in 67. King moved to Chicago in 66 in the west side. So King was here on the west side of Chicago when the wall was coming up.
So the wall wasn't just a piece of art. You're saying that it was the genesis of a whole movement for essentially black power and black cultural activities.
And not only that, the wall, what it brought to the community, and it was two things. Bob's calling. The wall itself, it affected the music at that time because people came for the music. And it affected the poetry and the spoken words. In 1967, you had Dr. Margaret Burris. You had Bill Walker. I met Nina Simone, the great singer Nina Simone. I don't know if you had a picture of Nina Simone at the wall.
No, I didn't print out all your pictures, so I'm sorry.
I met Nina Simone at the Wall of Respect.
Yes, but why are there policemen in this photograph accosting a man that's apparently just enjoying the cultural, the music and the scene? Back then it was the scene to be at the wall.
Well, not only was it was a meeting spot for people to meet, but in the days in 1967, we drank. Well, I didn't drink because I was a little kid, but we drank Wild Irish Rose. We drank a drink called Wild Irish Rose.
Not at 11, Jeff. I'm hoping not at 11.
Some of the guys would get full of Wild Irish Rose, and then the police would probably have to come and take them off the scene. But it was a turbulent time in the 60s. It was history. It was part of our history.
Well, let me ask you, I didn't think Martin Luther King's picture appeared on the wall. I thought this is a more radical kind of artwork.
Well, Dr. King is not on the Wall of Respect because anybody who, the group who put the Wall of Respect together, if you were like somebody who went along with the white people, you couldn't be on the wall. Mm-hmm. If you went along with the white people, but if you went against them, you could be on the wall. Mm-hmm. Martin Luther King is not on the wall. If you look at the pictures and the people that are on the wall, they have a sort of like a militant background. Jan, I'm going to have to let you go. Bob is calling me.
Let me show you. I'm hoping that you can walk me through some of these individuals that are here. Obviously, I know this is Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, Muhammad Ali, Rap Brown, Skokie Carmichael.
No, I thought this is Louis Armstrong, but it's not. Do you know who that is, Ziff? Oh, I think we lost you, Ziff. Sorry about that. Back to me.
Hello?
Yes, hi.
Hey, this is Steve.
How
y'all doing? You know what? I know that was Zip. I caught his voice. I used to play... just show you how long ago, played baseball down in Washington Park. That's Zip, that's before your time too, Zip. I played with the Lions. But he remind me of down there on 43rd.
That's 43rd and Langley.
Let me tell you, it started on 51st Street. 50th it started on behind Willard Grammar School. It was an alley, and that's where everything started. Every Sunday they used to go down there.
Stephen, back in the late 60s, this was unheard of to put graffiti on a building.
Hey, before the 60s, they used to have what they called the alley. It was right in the alley that goes to Willard School. Willard School now ain't living over there. Still over there anymore. Then they went down to 43rd. I used to go get some clothes made over there. Okay. Stephen and Son, that was the name of the tailor shop, right there on 43rd between Langley and Champaign. My first building that I ever sold was my grandfather's building at 5038 St. Lawrence. And But in the 60s, I was living out on 70th and
Oh, wait a minute. How old were you in the 60s, Stephen? I'm talking about, are you like 10?
Well, let me tell you, I was born in 49, January
Oh, no
27th,
kidding.
49. Yes, I was.
Wow. So you remember this like it was yesterday. This was like a monumental event.
That's what made me call in. It brought down, and then he mentioned some people, David Boxdale, Jeff Fort. See, these old people that we used to know and deal. 'Cause everybody has a story. But one thing for sure, sweetheart, that I know that resolves issue is a ball and a bat. I used to tell Ray that all the time. You get a ball in the bat, you can resolve issues. Sometimes maybe that's what we need to do is go back to the old ways, and people will have more respect. Back in those days, people had respect for each other. Your whole neighborhood, your village knew you. If you ever did something wrong, they'd tell you about it.
They would tell you. I know they would.
But
they would definitely tell your mom.
That he showed on 43rd, that's when they was rioting. But they did not riot real bad out here. They did, most of the riot was on the west side.
Oh, wait, do you remember the riots in 68?
Yes, they were burning, how can you burn a building down and people upstairs live above? It was really rough back in those days on the west side. Then they did a little rioting down there on 43rd. They tried 63rd, but the old man Dilly, he said, no, they ain't going to be
that's what I was wondering. And this one photograph Ziff has, the police are just, or it looks like they're really hassling some guy who is just there.
Yeah, well, see, they didn't want people to congregate. That's why. They did not want people congregating. So they figured that a bunch of people get together, they're going to start something. They also did Cottage Grove, 85th, somewhere around there. I forgot, somewhere around Cottage Grove. But either way it goes, let me tell you, those were good days, believe it or not.
Let me ask you, do you remember something about the Democratic Convention and the riots that were going on in the late 60s?
Yes. You know, I mean, again, you know, I was at the convention down, and they had the Democratic Convention. They had a rock show going on there. It's Flying the Family Stones. They did not show. So the people that was at the convention, they converged on everybody over there in Grant Park. Right. They converged, and you just walked all downtown. You could not breathe with all that tear gas.
I know.
But again, you know, people just protested then. And I don't know, somewhere on my TV or something. But anyway, they protested, but they never did do anything harmful. You know, they just protested and just kept quiet. Now these days, people don't want to do things. They don't know how to protest. The only thing they want to do is shoot and kill and things like that. That's nowhere. But again, listen, let me get out there.
Oh, thank you, Stephen. I appreciate it. Thank you for calling in.
Yes, you know I'm going to call while you're there.
I think we have another caller. Hello, caller?
Yes, hello.
Hi, do you have a comment or question about the Wall of Respect?
Hi, my name is Russell Walker, Jan.
Hi, Russell Walker. You're too young to remember the Wall of Respect.
I just want to say you're doing a great job. Keep up the great work. And I tune in on your show, and that you're doing a great job.
Thank you, Russell.
Have a good day.
Pookie, do we have another caller?
You sure do got another
Hi, Paula.
caller.
How are you tonight?
There's my little buddy. You're looking gorgeous, hey.
Right. Hey, Paula, do you remember the Wall of Respect?
I certainly do. And that little picture that you just saw with the policeman.
Yeah. Let me show that again. I love this picture.
Right. That was
They're hassling somebody who just happens to be at the wall.
It's not, there you go. Steve is right. That's the Democratic Party in the 1968. He's absolutely correct. And if you look the way today is, it's the same damn thing all over again. People marching, trying to get their words across. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't. But that is the Democratic Party.
Yeah, I just love the policeman's old hat.
It's the same thing that happened when Trump came to town. We all went crazy over there. So whenever you get them Democratic parties together, forget about it. They go nuts. They don't know how to behave. They start swinging. Just shut up and leave us alone and let us do what we got to do.
Yeah, Paula, I had not remembered the Wall of Respect. Mind you, I was 3.
I was going to say that Wall of Respect was something. They should have had Michael Jackson, everybody on that building there. We've got so many beautiful people come from Chicago, entertainers, and that Aretha Franklin. My God, I have never seen somebody so beautiful. They even had her shoes on her. They changed a couple of outfits on her. What a
I was wondering that they did an outfit
ceremony.
change. That's what I heard. I thought that was
Shoes on.
fantastic.
How beautiful she looked. All the people.
Well, I was amazed. I looked at her biography, and I guess she had her first child when she was 12 years of age.
Yeah. Well, I got news for you. For her child, I heard she didn't leave a will.
I know. I think that's kind of unusual, don't you?
Yes, I do, because she had children, she had foundations, you pass away, you're getting sick, it's time to go, it's time to make a will. I don't understand why she didn't leave anything to her children. That don't make no sense, but that's none of our business.
Oh, is that what they're saying? Because the law in Illinois is a little different. If you die with the surviving spouse and children, the spouse gets half, and then the children get the other half.
Was
split.
she married? Was she married, Mrs. Kowalski?
Well, Wikipedia said she had a surviving husband. I don't know if that's true or not.
Well, she didn't leave him nothing either. She no will at all. What are you going to do? A respect, right?
Well, you know what? That's what, when looking at her biography, I was amazed by just the sheer number of songs that I remembered off of that biography. My favorite was I Knew You Were Waiting for Me with George Michael.
Oh, my God, George Michael's another one gone. All the stars, they're all gone. But you know what, Kowalski? When you're a star, you shine forever.
That's true.
All you got to do is put the radio or the TV on, and they're there. But let me mention this march. We got a new march coming up. What
are we marching for, Paula?
Yeah, they got to be cutting down the Kennedy Expressway over here on Labor Day.
Oh, no kidding.
I live 10 minutes from the airport, and I hear we got a new march coming up. I got my sign ready. I'm going to jump right down there and walk with them. But anyhow,
there's another thing. I know it's going to sound strange, and Stephen was just talking about people don't know how to protest like they did in the 60s. Because nowadays, if you want to protest, apparently you got to be in there from start to finish. They don't let you just go in and out whenever you want to. Because they have you barricaded and funneled in there and surrounded by police officers.
Right.
So I think that these protests aren't quite the way that I remember them.
Mrs. Kowalski, protesting is another word for venting. People got to vent. When they're out in the streets, whether things get changed or not, they're venting. They're telling you how they feel. They're telling how they're sad. The cops are going crazy. They just hired another 150 cops the other day.
Wow.
And 200 people get shot overnight.
Wow.
They need to bring the draft back. They need martial law. We need somebody to help us in Chicago, Mrs. Kowalski. I
heard this. I don't know if it's true or not, but the military doesn't want essentially recruits from violence-ridden neighborhoods because then they bring that kind of...
If the government asks for martial law and consider Chicago an emergency, they got to do it. Martial law, and for all the pea shooters, bring the draft back.
But wait a minute, Paula, you don't want martial law by you, do you? Do you want a curfew? Do you want, being asked for your ID at corners? I mean, we don't want martial law in Chicago, do we?
We got to do something to keep them in the house, honey.
But I don't want to live in a police state.
Well, then we're going to have to be dealing what we're dealing with every day. The poor man's watching TV and gets shot through the house.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I'm saying? But
then hiring more police officers isn't working, though, either, is it?
I told them 1,000,000 times, more African-American police officers. They're more gentle. There's so many You know what? I'm going to run for mayor. What do you think? Would you vote for me?
For you, definitely, Paula. No doubt about it.
And then we'll put Ziff. We'll make him head of Treasury. What do you think about that?
Maybe cultural affairs would be better.
I love you, Kowalski. I'll talk to you next week. Let me get off the phone.
Yes, thank you for calling in. Appreciate it.
Good night, sweetheart.
So tonight we've been discussing the Wall of Respect in Chicago that existed from 1967 to 1971. Unfortunately, in 1971, it was burned down and no longer exists. But it was influential in starting a whole entire movement for essentially murals on buildings. And now there's, especially in my neighborhood of Pilsen, there's any number of murals, and actually there's tour groups that go through to see the murals. And I think it really aids to the culture of the city. And of course, I'm Jan Kowalski McDonald with Greenslate I Incorporated. And thank you for watching and participating in today's show. And of course, today we were talking about Aretha Franklin and the respect which led to the Wall of Respect in Chicago. And of course, tonight I was joined by Ziv Sistrunk, our executive producer, who called in to share his story. And of course, my producer is Pookie tonight. Thank you, my technician. And thank you, and have a good night.